Amon is with us in Houston. Hey, Amon, how are you?
Hey, Dave. How are you?
Better than
Pretty
I
good.
deserve. What's up?
So I wanted to ask you about the situation I'm in. So I'm deciding between a 15-year fixed rate mortgage or to save up and buy a home in cash. So the thing is, in my religion, we have a 20% required charity. So basically, at the end of the year, any money we didn't spend from our income, 20% of whatever's left over, we have to donate to charity. So if I were to save for a house, I'd have to pay a lot more in charity, which means it would, take away from my house savings. But if I got a mortgage, that money would be an expense. So I'd have to pay less charity and put more towards the house. So with that 20% number, what would you recommend? Would I get a mortgage or save up for a house and pay in cash?
How old are you?
I'm 22,
And what's your income?
160,000.
Wow. What in the world do you do at 22 years old making 160,000?
Trying to say.
I'm a software engineer.
Oh,
No, of course you are.
yeah.
Okay.
You're
Good.
smart.
Good for you. Way to go. Okay, so what are you going to pay for this house in cash, or what are you going to pay for this house, and how long is it going to take us to get there?
I'm thinking around 300,000 and probably trying to save up over the next 4 to 5 years.
To pay for it cash?
Yes.
How much do you have cash right now in your savings account?
I have not started work yet, but right now I have about $10,000.
Oh,
So
so you're
you're-
not working.
You're just coming out of school.
Yeah.
Okay. So what would happen if you lived like a college student and did this in like 3 years?
Mhm.
Yeah, I could do that, and my expenses would be pretty low.
Yeah. And so does the 20% apply? I don't know the technicalities on your process. Does that apply to whatever you have in savings every year, or what you added to savings this year?
What I added to savings this year.
Okay. And so if you put in 100,000, it'd be 80. The next year, if you put in 100,000, it'd be 80. And the next year, if you put in 100,000, it'd be 80, and you'd have 240,000.
Exactly.
Okay. And buy a $240,000 house at 25 years old, cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But would it make more sense to get a mortgage, which would be cheap, like what 60,000 to put to charity versus 60,000 in interest, or less than 60,000 in interest, which
Yeah.
would be.
So what is your religion?
I'm a sect of Islam called the Shia Muslim.
Okay. And I've got some friends that are Muslims that are doing some teaching on what the Quran says about money. And they're kind of building out, we're Christians. We kind of do it from a Christian perspective. They're doing it from a Muslim perspective, which is very cool, by the way. And they were teaching me that the Quran is harder on debt than the Bible is.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is pretty tough on debt. A lot of people don't take any interest at all, actually.
Yeah, and not only the usurious issue, but the whole debt thing in general. So I don't know. I mean, what I'm suggesting is maybe you're choosing which part of the Quran you're going to be worried about here. And if you were worried about the debt part, you would gladly give up the other 20%.
I kind of
Right.
like the saving. I kind of like that.
It mathematically doesn't work, but
Yeah.
technically charity doesn't work mathematically
Yeah.
in general, because when you give money away, you don't have it anymore.
Right.
But yet every religion of quality suggests generosity in some methodology. Christians, Orthodox Jews, 10% tithe. You've got a 20% on savings there that you're teaching me about that I wasn't aware of. And so it's not unusual at all for some methodology for generosity to be built in, meaning that in general, most religions believe that God says we're better off if we're generous. Right?
Right.
And so I don't think there's a downside to you being generous.
Me neither.
Instead of looking at
Yeah.
it as a duty, look at it as an instruction from your religion that is to your benefit.
Not even just a duty. It's I was about to say a benefit. I like that, Dave.
I mean, you benefit from being a generous person. That is why you are getting this instruction to be generous. And that's true. I mean, we could say that, as Christians, we certainly believe that.
Yeah.
That God is not telling us to give money away because he needs our money. He's having to give money away because it changes your heart into a generous person, and generous people are highly attractive. But if you're doing it as an act of duty, then you're not getting that benefit. Instead, if you're doing it as an act of instruction, where I'm seeing the benefit of my character being changed to that of a generous person, which I suppose is what the is this version of Islam. That's what the goal is. It would make sense to me that that's how that works.
But Dave, let's take away religion from this. If I'm 22 years old and I'm making $160,000 a year, I'm staying at home and just going to just save up and just buy a house cash by 25. And even if you take away the
You don't
religion,
even have to stay home.
yeah, I mean,
You
you
live
go
on
out and get an
60. You
apartment.
can live on 60 grand.
Exactly.
That's
And
no slouch.
no slouch at all.
A lot of people coming out of college wish they made 60 grand.
Absolutely.
So, that's an okay version. I still think, I mean, it's an interesting discussion, and I like talking about it through this lens because I think it's instructive. But, so the point is that even though you're down by 20%, I think your character is up by more than 20%. Your generosity makes you more attractive. You are a better person. You, on the long haul, are going to prosper. I don't know that you're going to prosper in this calendar year by the equivalent of your giving. That probably seldom does happen. But I will tell you that generous people, over the scope of their life, tend towards prosperity because they're more attractive. People want to do things with them. They're the ones that smile.
Yeah.
They're the ones that hold the door for you. They're the ones you want to promote. Now, this is not someone who's acting out of religious duty, though. That's not generous. That's just following the rules, being a religious Boy Scout.
Yeah.
And that doesn't give you that benefit. But the idea that generosity should be key in your financial plan if you are doing it out of a compassionate, loving, giving heart, not a dutiful heart, I think it's a very important part of the discussion.
I agree. I do.
So even all that aside, if I can save up and pay cash for 3 years, regardless of what rules I'm doing it under,
I'm doing that.
I'm doing that.
Yes, I agree, Dave.
Yeah, you're gonna be 25 years old and own a home that's $250,000, and you'll be making $200,000 a year. You're gonna be in good shape, sir.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna be all right.
Oh, yeah.